Lisa Grant rubbed her tired eyes and stared at the radar screen. Something was wrong. The blips near Neptune shouldn't be there. They moved in ways no human spacecraft could. "Sir, I'm picking up unusual activity near the outer planets," she said, turning to her superior officer. Colonel Frank Porter barely glanced at her screen. "Probably ice debris or sensor ghosts, Captain." "Run the calibration sequence again." Lisa frowned but followed orders. The anomalies remained. 3 days later, the strange objects moved closer to Earth. Lisa's warnings continued to be ignored until a flash of light erupted near Europa, Jupiter's moon. The unmanned research station there went silent. All contact lost. In an underground facility beneath Wyoming, alien specialists gathered around a table. The room was silent as they watched footage captured by Lisa's deep space monitoring facility. The video showed a sleek, silver vessel firing energy weapons at the research station. "This is an act of war," General Doug Harris said, his voice hard. "They fired first." President Alice Bennett nodded slowly. "We need to respond, but carefully. They clearly have technology far beyond ours." "What do we know about them?" asked Defense Secretary Peter Daniels. A scientist stepped forward. "Very little. They appear to be an advanced species, possibly part of a larger coalition. We're calling them the Galactic Hegemony based on intercepted communications." Across the galaxy, Commander Lorik addressed the Galactic Command Council. His scaled skin shimmered under the bright lights as he gestured to a hologram of Earth. "The humans are primitive but numerous," Lorik explained. "Their technology is centuries behind ours. They pose no threat to our mining operations." High Counselor Vasix leaned forward. "Did they detect your assessment team?" "They observed our warning demonstration, as intended," Lorik replied confidently. "The destruction of their small outpost should ensure their cooperation. These humans are fearful creatures who will submit rather than face our power." The council members nodded in agreement. None questioned Lorik's assessment. After all, in thousands of years, no primitive species had ever surprised the hegemony. Back on Earth, in a secret facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, Lieutenant Jack Miller studied the alien footage frame by frame. His keen eyes noticed patterns in the enemy ship's energy signatures. "Their shields fluctuate when they fire weapons," he muttered, making notes. "That's a potential weakness." Jack was one of 50 officers quietly reassigned to the newly formed Unified Defense Initiative. The UDI worked in complete secrecy, unknown to the public and even most military personnel. Admiral William Reeves, head of the UDI, entered the room. "What have you found, Lieutenant?" Jack pointed to his screen. "Their technology is advanced, but not perfect. I think we can exploit these patterns." Reeves nodded. "Good. Keep working." Across the world, similar secret projects began. Engineer Olivia Wright led a team in Arizona, studying the energy signatures of the alien weapons. In hidden shipyards beneath Antarctic ice, new vessels took shape, incorporating theories about the alien technology. Meanwhile, the aliens established a base on Mars. Commander Lorik supervised as excavation machines dug into the red soil. "The humans have made no response to our arrival," his assistant reported. "Their primitive detection systems likely cannot even track our ships." Lorik made a sound of satisfaction. "As expected, prepare the mining fleet for deployment to Jupiter's moons. The element we seek is abundant there." Little did he know that human eyes watched his every move. Spy satellites disguised as space debris recorded the alien activities. Every piece of information went directly to UDI headquarters. Lisa Grant, now transferred to the UDI, reviewed the latest intelligence. "They're expanding operations to Jupiter next," she told Admiral Reeves. "Right where they destroyed our research station." Reeves' expression darkened. "Then that's where we'll make our first move. How soon can we be ready?" 6 months, minimum," Lisa replied. "We need time to prepare our weapons and train our people." "They think we're harmless," Reeves said, looking at images of the alien base. That's our advantage. As the aliens settled into their new outposts, confident in their superiority, humanity prepared in silence. The galactic hegemony believed they had encountered just another primitive species to be exploited. They were wrong. 6 months passed quietly. The hegemony expanded their presence across the solar system, setting up mining operations on 3 of Jupiter's moons. They paid little attention to Earth beyond occasional scans for military activity. They found none. At least, none they recognized. In her underground lab, engineer Olivia Wright watched as her team tested a new device. The small cylinder hummed softly, then produced a field identical to the hegemony shields. "It works," she said, unable to hide her smile. "The frequency match is nearly perfect." Her assistant, Alan Diaz, checked the readings. "How did you figure this out with such limited data?" "Patterns," Olivia explained. "Their shield technology uses mathematical sequences similar to our own encryption methods, just far more advanced. Once we identified the pattern, we could predict the frequencies." Meanwhile, deep beneath the Atlantic Ocean, Admiral Reeves inspected the first completed ship of Earth's secret fleet. The vessel looked strange. Its hull covered in materials that absorbed light rather than reflected it, its shape irregular and organic rather than streamlined. "Will it really be invisible to their sensors?" Reeves asked the chief engineer. "Not invisible, but it mimics natural phenomena they ignore. Their scans show this as space debris or background radiation. We studied how they filter their sensor data." In orbit around Mars, Commander Lorik prepared his report to Galactic Command. The holographic display showed his superior, High Counselor Vazix. "Resource extraction proceeds as planned," Lorik reported. "The humans remain passive. Our initial assessment was correct. They are too primitive to challenge us." Vazix nodded. "Good. What about their communications? Have they discussed our presence?" "Their public channels contain much speculation but no concrete information. Their governments appear to be hiding our existence to prevent panic." "A typical response from primitive species," Vazix replied. "Continue operations and prepare for Phase 2. Limited resource collection from their planet." As the transmission ended, Lorik felt satisfied. His career would advance quickly after this successful mission. Subjugating Earth would be simple. On a remote airbase in Alaska, pilot Samantha Chen climbed into the cockpit of a strange aircraft. It resembled no conventional jet. Its controls were partly physical, partly holographic. "Remember," her instructor said, "the simulator can only approximate how this will handle. The real thing will be different." San nodded. "I'm ready." The simulator activated. Around her, the cockpit displayed a realistic view of space near Jupiter. Ahead, holographic hegemony ships moved in predictable patterns. "Target their energy distribution nodes," came Jack Miller's voice through her headset. "When they fire weapons, their shields weaken at these points." Sam practiced the attack run again and again, along with 20 other pilots. They trained relentlessly, preparing for a battle against an enemy who didn't know they existed. In UDI headquarters, Lisa Grant briefed Admiral Reeves on the latest intelligence. "The aliens have destroyed our research station on Europa during their mining operation. 12 scientists were killed." Reeves' expression hardened. "Did they know humans were present?" "Yes," Lisa confirmed. "They detected life signs but proceeded anyway. According to intercepted communications, they consider human lives insignificant." "Then it's time," Reeves said. He pressed a button on his desk. "Commence Operation First Light. Captain Grant, you'll lead the attack squadron." Lisa nodded, her face determined. "The fleet is ready, Admiral." Across the solar system, hidden human ships powered up. Their unusual designs and stealth technology made them nearly undetectable. Inside each vessel, crews prepared for humanity's first strike against the invaders. On his flagship, Commander Lorik received a warning from his science officer. "Sir, unusual solar flare activity predicted in the next 12 hours. It may interfere with our sensors." Lorik dismissed the concern with a gesture. A minor inconvenience. Continue operations. He had no idea that humans had carefully timed their attack to coincide with this natural phenomenon. As the solar radiation increased, Earth's stealth fleet moved into position, ready to show the galactic hegemony that humanity was far from primitive. The silent preparation was complete. Now came the time to fight. Captain Lisa Grant sat in the command chair of the UDI stealth ship Defiance. 5 similar vessels followed behind her, their unusual shapes blending with the natural debris of space. All systems ran in silent mode as they approached Jupiter. Status report, Lisa ordered quietly, though no sound could travel through space. Solar flare intensity increasing, the science officer replied. Hegemony sensors should be at minimum efficiency now. Lisa nodded. Weapons status. Ready. Wright's frequency modulators are sensed to target shield weaknesses. Around Jupiter's moon Callisto, 3 large hegemony mining ships carved into the surface. Smaller vessels carried resources to a processing station. None of their sensors detected the approaching human fleet. Begin attack run, Lisa ordered. Remember the mission parameters. Hit hard, then vanish. No extended engagement. The 6 human ships accelerated toward their targets. For the first time, weapons designed specifically to fight the hegemony were about to be tested in battle. On the lead hegemony mining vessel, an alarm sounded. The security officer looked confused. Captain, I'm detecting anomalous energy readings approaching from Sector 7. The hegemony captain, a veteran named Kryvax, glanced at the display. Sensor malfunction due to solar activity. Ignore it. Seconds later, the ship shuddered violently. Warning lights flashed across every console. We're under attack, the security officer shouted. Kryvax stared in disbelief as the shields around his ship fluctuated and failed. Impossible. There are no other spacefaring races in this system. The Defiance fired its second volley. Specialized missiles struck precisely where the alien shields were weakest. Explosions tore through the mining ship's hull. Direct hit, reported Lisa's weapons officer. Target is severely damaged. Move to secondary target, Lisa ordered. The human fleet split into pairs, each targeting a different alien vessel. The attack was precise and devastating. The aliens, caught completely by surprise, responded slowly and ineffectively. On his command base on Mars, Commander Lorik received the emergency transmission. Mining fleet under attack at Jupiter, his communications officer reported. 3 ships severely damaged, 1 destroyed. Lorik's scales changed color with shock. Who is attacking? Have the Draconians violated our treaty? Unknown, sir. The attackers are using unknown vessels and weapons specifically calibrated to our shield frequencies. That's impossible, Lorik said. Show me the sensor data. The images were fragmented due to the solar interference, but they showed strange, dark ships that vanished from sensors almost immediately after attacking. Find those ships, Lorik ordered. Deploy the defense fleet. By the time the hegemony defense vessels arrived at Jupiter, the human ships were gone, leaving behind destroyed and damaged mining ships. The attack had lasted less than 15 minutes. Back on Earth, Admiral Reeves received the mission report. Casualties? None, sir, replied his aide. All ships returned safely. The aliens never got a clean shot at us. Reeves allowed himself a small smile. And the enemy? 1 mining ship destroyed, 2 heavily damaged. Their resource processing station is offline. Estimated setback to their operations, 3 months. A good start, Reeves said, but only a start. In the Galactic Command Center, High Counselor Vazix viewed Lorik's report with growing anger. You assured me the humans were primitive and harmless, he shouted at Lorik's hologram. They should be. Lorik replied, his scales showing his distress. This attack used technology that shouldn't exist on Earth. I believe another species might be using humans as proxies. Vazix narrowed his eyes. Find out who attacked my ships. If it is the humans, Determine how they acquired such technology. This changes everything. As the transmission ended, Lorik felt fear for the first time in his career. If humans had somehow developed advanced weapons on their own, his assessment had been catastrophically wrong. In the pilot lounge of the UDI base, Samantha Chen and her fellow pilots celebrated their victory. "Did you see their ships when we hit them?" One pilot laughed. They had no idea what was happening. Sam smiled but remained focused. "They'll be ready next time. We got lucky with the solar flare." "Lucky?" Another pilot said. "We've been planning this for months." Sam nodded. "And now we need to plan the next strike before they figure out who we are." 1 week after the attack at Jupiter, 3 large hegemony ships entered Earth orbit. They positioned themselves over major cities: New York, Beijing, and London. Their weapon systems remained powered but inactive, a clear threat. In the White House Situation Room, President Alice Bennett met with her advisors and Admiral Reeves. "They're demanding answers about the attack," the Secretary of State explained. "They refuse to believe humans were responsible." "Good," Admiral Reeves said. "Their arrogance works in our favor." The president looked concerned. "What if they start firing on our cities?" "They won't," Reeves assured her. "Not yet. They want answers more than revenge at this point, and our planetary defense system is nearly ready." On the main hegemony ship, Commander Lorik addressed the human representatives via video link. Earth governments had sent low-level diplomats, claiming their leaders were unavailable. "We know you are hiding something," Lorik said, his translator converting his speech to English. "Someone attacked our mining fleet. If not humans, then who?" The American diplomat looked confused. "Commander, we have no spacecraft capable of reaching Jupiter, let alone attacking your vessels. Perhaps another alien species." Lorik's scales darkened with frustration. "There are no other spacefaring races in this system." While the diplomatic talks continued, Lieutenant Jack Miller worked in his lab. He had discovered something important in the hegemony communications. "Look at this pattern," he told Admiral Reeves, pointing to his screen. "Their command ships use a unique frequency to coordinate their fleet, and it repeats every 6 hours." Reeves studied the data. "Can we track their command vessels using this?" "Better," Jack replied. "We can predict where their command ships will be at any given time. They're creatures of habit." Meanwhile, engineer Olivia Wright tested her newest creation. The small device generated a focused electromagnetic pulse, tuned specifically to hegemony technology. "It works," she told her team as the alien shield generator they had captured shut down completely. "Their technology is vulnerable to precisely calibrated EMP bursts." Admiral Reeves reviewed the latest developments and made his decision. "It's time to escalate. They think we're only capable of one lucky attack. Let's show them what humanity can really do." He issued orders to all UBI bases around the solar system. 6 attack squadrons prepared for simultaneous strikes against hegemony outposts. On Mars, Commander Lorik received disturbing reports from Earth. Human governments were being oddly passive about the hegemony ships in their orbit. They seemed almost unconcerned. "Something is wrong," he told his second-in-command. "Increase security at all outposts. I don't trust this situation." "Sir," his officer replied, "the High Council believes you are being paranoid. They still think primitives cannot threaten us." Lorik's scales flickered with irritation. "The High Council is not here. I am. Double the patrols." At the UDI lunar base, Captain Lisa Grant briefed her pilots. "This time we hit 5 targets simultaneously. The hegemony won't be able to respond effectively if they're defending everywhere at once." Samantha Chen studied the attack plan. "These are much more heavily defended targets than before." "That's why we have these," Lisa replied, showing them Wright's new EMP devices. "They'll disable their systems long enough for us to strike and disappear." Across the solar system, human stealth ships moved into position. Unlike before, they didn't wait for solar flares. They had new technology now. active camouflage systems that bent light and radiation around their hulls. In his quarters on Mars, Commander Lorik couldn't sleep. Something bothered him about the humans. Their technology level didn't match their behavior. If they truly couldn't reach Jupiter, why weren't they more afraid of the hegemony ships above their cities? His communications officer interrupted his thoughts. "Sir, we've lost contact with our outpost on Titan." Before Lorik could respond, another report came in. Mining station on Mercury under attack. Then another. Research base on Europa reporting weapons fire. And another. Mars defense perimeter breached by unknown vessels. Lorik stared in shock as reports flooded in from across the solar system. The hegemony was under attack everywhere at once. "Impossible," he whispered. "How could primitives do this?" For the first time in its long history, the Galactic Command faced an enemy they had completely underestimated. The Galactic Command Council held an emergency meeting. High Counselor Vazix paced angrily before the gathered leaders. 6 outposts attacked simultaneously, he said. 4 destroyed completely. How is this possible? Commander Lorik stood before them, his scales pale with stress. The humans have technology that should be beyond their capabilities. They can hide from our sensors and target weaknesses in our shields. "Impossible," shouted one counselor. "They were using chemical rockets just decades ago." Nevertheless, Lorik insisted, "The evidence suggests they are responsible. No other species is present in that system." Vazix made his decision. "This cannot stand. The hegemony has never been challenged by a primitive world. We will make an example of Earth." He turned to a large, battle-scarred alien. "Grand Marshal Zex, prepare your fleet. Show these humans the consequence of defiance." Grand Marshal Zex bowed. His species was bred for war, with thick armor plates and multiple eyes for maximum battlefield awareness. "With pleasure, High Counselor. I will turn their cities to ash." On Earth, celebrations were short-lived. UDI monitoring stations detected massive energy signatures entering the outer solar system. Admiral Reeves called an emergency meeting. "The hegemony is sending their military fleet. This is no longer about mining operations. They're coming to punish us." "How many ships?" Lisa Grant asked. 50, Reeves replied grimly. "Much larger than anything we've faced so far." The room fell silent. Earth had only 30 stealth ships operational. "We need more time," Engineer Wright said. "Project Thunderbolt is only at 70% completion." Reeves nodded. "Then we'll buy you that time." "Lieutenant Miller, what's your assessment?" Jack Miller studied the data. "The fleet is led by a massive command ship. If we can disable it, their coordination will suffer. Their entire battle network relies on central command." "Can we reach it?" asked Sam Chen. "It will be heavily protected." "Maybe," Jack said thoughtfully, "if we had a ship they wouldn't recognize as human." In the following days, a daring plan took shape. While the hegemony fleet approached Earth, UDI engineers worked on a captured hegemony shuttle, modifying it for human use. Lisa Grant led a reconnaissance mission to gather final intelligence on the approaching fleet. Her squadron barely escaped when hegemony scouts almost detected them. "They're adapting their sensors," she reported to Admiral Reeves. "Our stealth technology won't work for much longer." "Then we strike before they're ready," Reeves decided. "How soon can Miller's team be ready?" 24 hours, Lisa answered. "The captured shuttle is operational, but risky." On his command ship, Grand Marshal Zex reviewed the battle plans. His vessel dwarfed all others in the fleet, a massive weapon of war that had crushed rebellions across the galaxy. "We will begin with their military installations," he told his officers. "Then their major cities. When they surrender, we will establish permanent control of their planet." One officer looked concerned. "Sir, what if they have more surprises?" Commander Lorik warned. "Lorik is a fool who overestimated primitives to cover his own failures," Zex interrupted. "These humans caught mining ships unprepared. My warships are another matter entirely." Back on Earth, Lieutenant Miller briefed the infiltration team. The shuttle's ID codes are still valid. Their automated systems should let us dock with the command ship. And once we're aboard, asked one team member. Jack held up one of Wright's devices. We plant this EMP generator near their main computer core. When it activates, their entire battle network will go offline for 3 minutes. 3 minutes isn't long, someone noted. It will be long enough, Jack replied confidently. Captain Grant's fleet will be waiting. Admiral Reeves oversaw final preparations from UDI headquarters. Project Thunderbolt, Earth's last line of defense, was being rushed to completion. Thousands of orbital platforms, hidden in plain sight as satellites and space debris, contained powerful weapons designed by Wright's team. As the Hegemony fleet entered the inner solar system, 2 battles were about to begin, one visible, one hidden. The humans prepared to fight with every trick, every advantage, and every ounce of courage they possessed. The Galactic Command was about to learn why underestimating humanity was the greatest mistake they had ever made. Lieutenant Jack Miller felt his heart pounding as the captured Hegemony shuttle approached the massive alien command ship. Engineer Olivia Wright sat beside him, monitoring the disguised vessel's systems. ID codes accepted, she whispered as the automated docking system engaged. They're letting us in. The small team of 6 humans wore modified Hegemony environmental suits. The aliens would see the suits but not the humans inside them. Remember, Jack said to his team, move like you belong there. Their ships are huge and understaffed. If we don't act suspicious, they won't look closely. The shuttle docked with a soft thud. Jack took a deep breath and opened the airlock. Meanwhile, Admiral Reeves deployed Earth's fleet in a defensive formation around the planet. It looked desperate and disorganized, exactly as planned. The Hegemony would see easy targets, not a trap. All ships maintain position, Reeves ordered. Wait for Miller's signal before engaging. On Saturn's dark side, Captain Lisa Grant's Shadow Fleet waited silently. 20 stealth ships, Earth's best, hidden where no Hegemony sensors would look. Weapons hot, engines on standby. She told her crews, when the command ship goes dark, we move. Grand Marshal Zex watched with satisfaction as his fleet approached Earth. The pitiful human defenses amused him. Look how they cluster around their planet, he told his officers. They think they can protect it. His second-in-command studied the sensor readings. Sir, their ships match the description of those that attacked our outposts. Good, Zex replied. Then we know we face the right enemy. Begin attack formation. Inside the massive command ship, Jack's team moved through the corridors. Most areas were automated, with few crew members present. Their disguises worked perfectly. The main computer core should be 2 levels down, Olivia whispered, checking the schematics they had compiled from captured data. A Hegemony officer approached, speaking in their harsh language. Jack nodded and replied with the few phrases they had learned, hoping it would be enough. The officer seemed satisfied and continued past them. Jack released his breath slowly. That was close, one team member whispered. They found the computer core, a massive chamber filled with glowing crystalline structures. Olivia quickly identified the main power junction. This is it, she said, removing the EMP device from her pack. Once this activates, we have 3 minutes to get back to the shuttle. She set the timer and placed the device against the power conduit. Let's move, Jack ordered. As they turned to leave, an alarm suddenly blared. On a nearby screen, they saw their shuttle being inspected by security forces. They've discovered us, Olivia said, her voice tight with fear. Jack thought quickly. New plan. Olivia, you take Harris and Chen back to the shuttle. Create a distraction. The rest of us will find another way off this ship. But no time to argue. The mission comes first. If that EMP doesn't activate, Earth is finished. Olivia nodded reluctantly and headed back with 2 team members. Outside, the Hegemony fleet began its attack run. The human ships returned fire, their weapons seemingly ineffective against the larger vessels. In UDI headquarters, Admiral Reeves watched tensely. Any word from Miller? Nothing yet, sir, his communications officer replied. Aboard the command ship, Jack and his 2 remaining team members found an auxiliary hangar. Small fighter craft sat ready for launch. "Can we fly one of these?" asked Sergeant Kyle Richards. "We're about to find out," Jack replied, climbing into the nearest craft. Suddenly, the ship's internal communications erupted with alerts. Their presence was fully discovered. "We're out of time," Jack said. "Olivia must have been captured." At that moment, the EMP device activated. Throughout the massive command ship, systems failed as the electromagnetic pulse spread through its network. Lights flickered and died. Gravity wavered. Grand Marshal Zex stared in shock as his controls went dark. What is happening? His officers had no answers. The entire command network was offline. In the darkness of Saturn's shadow, Captain Lisa Grant gave the order. "All ships, attack formation. Target the flagship. Now." 20 stealth ships suddenly appeared behind the hegemony fleet, firing directly at their vulnerable rear shields. The trap was sprung. On Earth, Admiral Reeves smiled grimly. "Activate Project Thunderbolt. All platforms." Across Earth's orbit, thousands of hidden weapons platforms revealed themselves, their weapons targeting the surprised alien fleet. The battle for humanity's future had begun. Chaos erupted among the hegemony fleet. Without guidance from the command ship, their coordinated attack fell apart. Individual captains tried to respond to the sudden appearance of human ships behind them, but confusion reigned. Grand Marshal Zex roared in anger as emergency lights flickered on. "Restore communications. Get our weapons back online." His crew worked frantically, but the EMP had done its job well. Primary systems would remain offline for precious minutes. Captain Lisa Grant's voice was steady as she directed the Shadow Fleet. "Focus fire on their engine sections. Don't give them time to regroup." Human ships darted between the larger alien vessels, firing precisely at vulnerable points identified by Lieutenant Miller's research. 3 hegemony warships erupted in flames within the first minute. Inside the command ship, Jack and his 2 remaining team members fought their way toward the hangar. Security forces, operating on backup systems, blocked their path. "We need another route," Sergeant Richards shouted over the sound of alien weapons fire. Jack checked a wall terminal that was still functioning. "This way, through the maintenance tunnels." As they ran, Jack received a transmission from Olivia. "Jack, we've been cornered near the shuttle. Can't make it back." "Find cover," Jack replied. "We're going to steal a fighter and pick you up." Meanwhile, Earth's orbital defense platforms unleashed their full power. Thousands of energy beams struck the hegemony fleet simultaneously. Ships that had seemed invincible minutes ago now fought for survival. Admiral Reeves watched the battle from UDI headquarters. Status report: 8 enemy ships destroyed. His tactical officer reported 12 heavily damaged. The rest are attempting to regroup around the command ship. "Focus fire on their support vessels," Reeves ordered. "Keep them separated." On the command ship, Grand Marshal Zex realized the battle was turning against him. Never in his long career had he faced such a reversal. "This is impossible," he growled. "How could primitives coordinate such an attack?" His second-in-command looked grim. "Sir, we're detecting thousands of weapons platforms in Earth orbit. They were disguised as debris and satellites." "A trap," Zex said, his voice cold with fury. "They lured us in deliberately." Jack and his team reached the hangar and climbed into an alien fighter. The controls were strange, but similar enough to the simulations they had practiced on. "I think I can fly this," Jack said, activating the engines. "Hold on." The fighter shot out of the hangar, banking sharply to avoid defensive fire. Jack piloted it back toward the section where Olivia and the others were trapped. "We're coming to you," he transmitted. "Be ready to move when we create an opening." Suddenly, the fighter's sensors blared a warning. A hegemony security vessel had locked onto them. Evasive maneuvers, Richards shouted. Jack rolled the fighter, barely avoiding the first volley of enemy fire. But the second struck their engine directly. The fighter spun out of control, systems failing. "We're hit," Jack called to Olivia. "Can't make it to you. You need to find another way out." Through the damaged view screen, Jack saw the battle raging around them. Human ships, though outnumbered, were inflicting devastating damage on the hegemony fleet. "Even if we don't make it," he told his team, "Earth is winning." Across the battlefield, pilot Samantha Chen led her squadron in a daring attack on the command ship itself. Her targeting computer focused on the weaknesses Jack had identified in his final transmission. "For Lieutenant Miller," she said as she fired. Precision strikes hit the massive vessel's shield generators and weapon arrays. Other pilots followed her lead, concentrating fire on the same points. Inside the command ship, Grand Marshal Zex felt the impacts as sections of his vessel went dark. For the first time in his life, he knew fear. "Prepare my escape pod," he ordered. His second-in-command looked shocked. "Sir, we cannot abandon the fleet." "This battle is lost," Zex replied. "We must warn the Galactic Command about these humans." Before he could reach the escape pod, the ship rocked with another massive explosion. The bridge doors sealed automatically as decompression warnings sounded. Grand Marshal Zex was trapped. From UDI headquarters, Admiral Reeves watched as Project Thunderbolt tore through the remaining alien ships. The human fleet, though taking losses, pressed their advantage. "The command ship is disabled," reported his tactical officer. "Their fleet is in disarray." For the first time in a long conflict, Reeves allowed himself to believe victory was possible. 3 days after the battle, the remains of the hegemony fleet retreated beyond Neptune. Of the 50 warships that had entered the solar system, only 21 limped away, most heavily damaged. The massive command ship remained in Earth orbit, captured by UDI forces. Admiral Reeves walked through the alien vessel, now crawling with human engineers and scientists. The ship was a treasure trove of advanced technology. "Any sign of Miller or Wright?" he asked Lisa Grant, who led the search teams. Lisa shook her head sadly. "We found bodies in the fighter bay. 3 humans. Lieutenant Miller and his team sacrificed themselves to ensure the EMP worked." Reeves nodded, his expression somber. "And Engineer Wright?" "Alive," Lisa replied with a small smile. "We found her and one other member of her team in a sealed maintenance section. They're in medical now, being treated for injuries." In a secure room deep within the captured ship, Olivia Wright studied data files from the alien computers. Though injured, she had insisted on returning to work immediately. "It's incredible," she told Admiral Reeves when he visited. "They're faster than light technology. Their power sources, we can adapt all of it. We're looking at advancements that would have taken us centuries to develop on our own." "What about their weapons?" Reeves asked. "Those too," Olivia confirmed. "But more importantly, I found their star charts. The hegemony controls hundreds of systems." "Admiral, this was just one small fleet." News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than the retreating ships. The Galactic Command Council received the shocking reports with disbelief. "Impossible," High Counselor Vasix whispered as he reviewed the data. Grand Marshal Zex defeated by primitives. More disturbing news followed. The humans had captured the command ship intact. Even worse, they had taken Grand Marshal Zex alive. In a secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Samantha Chen visited the alien prison. Grand Marshal Zex sat in a specially designed cell, his massive frame diminished by defeat. "Why have you come?" he asked when he saw her. His translator produced perfect English now, adapted from captured technology. "To understand," Sam replied. "Why did you attack us?" "We posed no threat to you." Zex made a sound that might have been laughter. "That is how the hegemony has survived for 10,000 years. We eliminate potential threats before they become actual threats." He studied her. "We were right about you, just too late." 1 month after the battle, Earth received visitors, not hegemony warships this time, but diplomatic vessels from the Galactic Command itself. In the United Nations Assembly Hall, Admiral Reeves led the human delegation. Opposite them sat representatives from 12 alien species, all members of the Galactic Command. The lead diplomat, a tall, willowy alien, spoke first. The Galactic Command acknowledges the sovereignty of Earth and the human species. We offer a treaty of peace. After trying to destroy us, President Bennett asked skeptically. The hegemony's actions were unauthorized, the diplomat claimed, though everyone knew it was a lie. We wish to establish proper relations. What followed were 2 weeks of intense negotiations. With Grand Marshal Zex as a prisoner in possession of the command ship's data, humanity negotiated from a position of unexpected strength. In her laboratory, Olivia Wright made the breakthrough that would change everything. Based on hegemony principles, she developed Earth's first faster-than-light drive. "We can reach the stars now," she told Admiral Reeves during a test. "Not just our solar system, but beyond." 6 months after the battle, Captain Lisa Grant stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, now retrofitted with technology derived from the captured command ship. Behind her, a fleet of 30 new vessels prepared for their first journey beyond the solar system. "Captain, we're ready for departure," her first officer reported. Lisa nodded, set course for Alpha Centauri. It's time humanity took its place among the stars. On the Galactic Command homeworld, Commander Lorik, now demoted and disgraced, watched a news broadcast showing human ships arriving at a hegemony trade outpost. "I warned them," he said to no one in particular. "I told them these humans were dangerous." The broadcast showed Captain Grant shaking hands with an alien diplomat, while human ships hovered in the background. A clear message to anyone watching. The species that everyone had dismissed as primitive had become a galactic power literally overnight. The age of human expansion had begun.